What's going on, guys? We've got the gang here. Power Slap number 5. Dana has graced us with the gift. We have count it, 4 title matches going down Power Slap number 5, October 25th, live from Vegas. We are going to give you a breakdown of those 4 title matches that we have on tap. First off, we are going to get into it with Austin Turpin versus Wolverine. What a matchup this is going to be in the light heavyweight division. My man Jeeves. Let's talk about it. Austin Turpin. Give us the backstory of what Austin has done to get here for the opportunity of the light heavyweight championship.
Man, this kid came right out the gates running from Power Slap 1. We were there. We met them. They were all, it was really unique. So all the guys from Road to the Title, they were very amped up. They knew what they were getting into. A lot of these new guys, they were a little bit meeker, a little bit shyer. And to see the meteoric rise of Austin Turpin since that tryout has been nutty to see. And 4 matches now, 4-0, back to back to back, and now he's standing at a title fight is pretty fucking nuts for Austin Turpin, man. He's gone against new guys. He's even gone against some of the best in the league, with his last fight at Power Slap being with AJ Static Hints. And I think the question of can Austin actually stand there and bang is out the window now, because we know he can go toe-to-toe with some of the best. So getting him up there against Ron, this is huge for Power Slap 5. Might have fight of the night potential just because of the notoriety that Wolverine brings and the energy that Austin brings to this. So, man, this is a great one. I'm glad we're starting with this one, because I think we all have a lot of opinions on this one, boys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be fireworks no matter what happens in this fight. Let's talk about Wolverine, Ding. You know, what has he done in the past to be able to get him to this opportunity? I mean, obviously, he is the title holder, the first 2-time belt holder in, you know, the heavyweight and now the light heavyweight, which is more of Ron's natural weight class.
Yeah, man. So obviously Wolverine is a seasoned veteran. Not only does he have some MMA experience under his belt, but he's also been involved heavily on the slap scene for a long time. Obviously, he's tied to that prolific rivalry with Darius Morona Bata, for the championships they had going back and forth with record-breaking slap fights back and forth. So I think, generally speaking, this is exactly, veteran versus prospect. Austin Turpin's proven himself, like Jeeves has said, but we're talking about somebody who's not only taking names and taking heads in the heavyweight division, but now he's moving down a weight to fight guys who are a little bit smaller than him naturally. And we haven't seen his chin untested. I mean, he's been through it. He's been up there. He's gone against the likes of AJ Static Hints. He's gone against the likes of Darius Verona. He's definitely been up there against some of the best. He's been in a coaching role. He was a coach on season 1. He was also a coach previously, Power Slap number 4. So, I mean, this guy's as seasoned as they come, probably the most seasoned Power Slap fighter that we've seen so far, kind of neck and neck with somebody like the Crazy Hawaiian. But he's been on the scene for such a long time, man. And I'm really, really interested to see how does Austin Turpin get the job done on October 25th.
Yeah, I mean, these guys come from completely different backgrounds. You know, these guys would never be friends outside of Power Slap, that's for sure. They would have never crossed paths, to be honest with you. They both ended up here from 2 totally different backgrounds. And we kind of have, you know, the new wave versus the old wave. We've got experience versus the newcomer. You know, but the one thing that we've seen from both these guys is that they've dropped down from heavyweight down to light heavyweight, and they're squaring here, obviously, for the title of Power Slap number 5. We see 2 different, you know, style techniques, very, very different. Austin is, you know, flamboyant. He's loud. He wants to play that mental mind game to be able to break down his competitor. Ron is much more quiet. He's much more reserved. He doesn't like the spotlight. You know, he's starting to warm up to us and being able to do interviews with us. But even there at the press conference days, you know, he tries to speak as little as possible. You know, as part of the business, but it's something that he doesn't enjoy. Much more of a workman-like mentality, showing up, taking care of business, what he's done, you know, now multiple times. And like we said, these guys are really going to be on a collision course coming into Power Slap 5. And, you know, I almost feel like we have Ron, who is very much a practitioner, you know, and very technically sound. and has kind of that old man strength along with him to go with his, his incredible strikes that we've seen so far. And we've got Austin, who's a little bit more free and wild, has much more of an open, stance, to his strike. I think, along the entire way, as you alluded to, Jeeves, we knew that he could throw a strike. We didn't know for the longest time if he could actually take a strike from some of these top guys. But obviously, going up against AJ Static Hints, who's, KO'd a lot of the guys in the light heavyweight division, has kind of put those critics aside for the very moment.
Yeah.
Let's go back to you, Jeeves. For Austin to win on October 25th, what has to happen?
Man, so this one's going to be tough because I don't think Austin's brand of smack talk and getting into guys' heads going to work with Ron. He seems like he is the immovable object when he's up there. Nothing really seems to affect him. He's there to do a job. So if Austin is to pull this one out and walk away the title holder and keep his rise going, he's going to have to go out there and put everything into this. I'm talking offense, I'm talking defense, because we've seen Ron get hit by some of the biggest hands. He's gone 20-something rounds with Darius, one of the biggest hands in the heavyweight in slap fighting, period. And so if Austin plans to win this one, like I said, he's going to have to be very, very definitive. He's going to have to come out, maybe put some of the loudness aside and really show fans that, he's the real deal. But if he can do all that, I think I could see this one going in his favor, or at least going to a decision where it goes to the judges and it's not going to be a definitive end for him.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think for Austin to pull out this victory, I think he is going to have to get into those championship rounds, and he's going to have to win a war of attrition. I think because I don't see it ending quick. I don't see him, getting that one shot opportunity to be able to knock out Wolverine. I think this is very much going to go the distance. I think he has to have an incredibly clean fight. We've seen early on, some of the foul issues that he had. I think keeping it clean. Obviously, we're seeing some of the rule changes taking place. And so keeping a very clean fight, I almost think with the mentality of him having to win a decision might, being prepared for that is one of the keys to victory, because I think as we've seen Ron, we've seen him get knocked down. We haven't seen him get knocked out in his entire, illustrious career. And so, if he can knock down Wolverine, I think that is a massive leg up. That's a victory in itself, being able to put him on his backside up there on the power slap stage. So I think for that to happen, could be a big victory. I think it has to go the distance. He's got to keep an incredibly clean fight. We know that Ron is going to keep it clean as well. So that's also going to be something that plays into the back of, the minds of both fighters, is that we've seen the fouls play into the outcome of it. We know Ron is going to be very, very disciplined, I predict that I think that we are going to see Austin continue with the same style that he has that got him here. And why not? I mean, he's still undefeated, and he's backed up everything that he's been able to dish out so far. And he can continue on that path to, being able to become champion if he wins this match, if he sticks to his game plan through and through and is ready to go to war and go to battle.
Yeah. And to your point, man, he should be prepared to possibly not end this one early and go the distance, because like you said, Ron has never been knocked out. So, or knocked down like in a pronounced way. So if that's the goal, if that's going to happen, every strike matters. And now I know with measures and guys, we saw it with the Static and Ron fight. Turp's never fought anybody with a beard like Ron's yet. So being that every strike is going to count, he better find that chin quick, because like I said, we saw it with Static and Ron. It took a strike for him to actually figure out where the chin is under all that. And once he found it, we got some strikes going. So it's every strike is going to matter in this. And so if Austin's going to win, he's got to come out swinging, man.
Ding. You there, my man?
Yeah, man. So here's the thing about Wolverine. His experience is going to play a key part in this fight. And what I mean by that is there's no room in a 5-round fight, in any fight really, but particularly in a 5-round fight, because of the stakes. There's no room for mistakes. There's no room for fouls. And I think somebody with an understanding of that rule set is very dangerous. On top of that, let's not say that we've never seen Austin Turpin get shook, because when Alan Klingbeil brought that speedy windup out of nowhere, he lost his footing for a second. He was able to compose himself, but we saw him do something in that fight that we didn't see him do against AJ Static Hintz. And I think that because of the way he took out AJ, we kind of forgot that this guy's been tested before, and his chin hasn't necessarily held up to the point that we think of, because most recently he looked good against AJ. He's standing there, he's showboating, he's screaming in AJ's face. But I think a lot of that was that AJ felt like he was being smothered by the aura, by the all the intensity, all of that energy that Turpin brings to the table, all the crap talking, right? Most other people have never done that to AJ. It's been respectful. Obviously, AJ and Russell have their beef. But again, I think we gave AJ a lot of credit, and a lot of it was well-deserved, being that he did what he did in the sport. But let's not pretend that he's never been slept. I mean, Russell Rivero had him out cold, prior to his Austin Turpin fight. So to say that, Austin Turpin's this impenetrable guy, like I said, Alan Klingbeil had him on skates for a second. He was able to compose himself. Have you ever seen Wolverine do that? Right? We saw Wolverine sit on his butt, but he got right back up against a guy that we all agree deserves to be the heavyweight champion. In addition to that, let's talk about the power difference. Sure, Austin Turpin was up at heavyweight at some point in time because of his weight, but have we seen him go against the people that we've seen Wolverine go against? So this is not a question of whether or not these guys can hit hard. We know they can hit hard. It's a question of who's going to hit the button, who's going to get the more precise striking, and I just think Wolverine is that guy. I think there's nobody with more experience. And kudos to somebody like DeBell, who came out and was able to be precise, was able to be accurate, was able to be efficient and effective. I don't know that this stage, that all the stakes, I don't know that Austin Turpin can rise to the occasion better than we've seen Wolverine do time and time again. And as you both mentioned, two division champion, this sport's been out less than a year. This promotion has been out less than a year, And Wolverine was around long before that happened. And again, somebody like Darius Mataverona, who was the boogeyman, right, had Wolverine's number. He comes in and he gets him out of there. So a lot has changed, I think, for Wolverine. And I think his decision to go to light heavyweight wasn't for no reason. So I would definitely be taking him seriously. And like you said, I think for both men, this is a war of attrition. You have to accumulate damage with the strikes that you throw from round 1 to round 5. You cannot put too much into one. And if somebody makes a mistake here, it could cost them the fight. One foul, and I think that this is swayed in the opposite direction.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Ryan Phillips, most recent interview that he did here with Slap News actually dropped an incredible line. He said, you don't need to have, multiple slaps and power slap. You need to have one slap that will knock the fuck out of the guy. And I think that becomes even more incredibly important in this fight in particular. I think every individual slap is going to be incredibly important. I don't think that you can get up there and do something that you haven't done before in this matchup. I think you need to do exactly what has worked for you, and you need to be trying within the rule set to take the other, competitor's head off with every single strike, because as you said, the stake is so high at this point and the margin for error is so minimal that you need to be putting 100% effort in every single strike that you can do fairly for this to be able to be successful. But Ding, what exactly has to happen in this matchup for everything to go Wolverine's way for him to get the victory? What has to happen? How does that look? How does the match, unfold?
I think Wolverine has to focus on making sure that his strikes are fair. He has to absolutely avoid a foul at all costs. In addition to that, I think there has to be a lot of testing that takes place with kind of that strike and making sure that he's able to kind of surprise Austin Turpin in a way that he hasn't been surprised before. Study some of the film that he's had. Like I said, it seems like he doesn't like the unexpected, right? AJ has a very consistent and predictable wind up, and then his strike is the same. They've just changed the verbiage around for rules. When you're striking, your wind up has to be at a similar pace as the strike that you're going to dish. So that may kind of make it a little bit more difficult to do something like what Alan Klingbeil did. But we know that when you surprise Austin Turpin, he doesn't like it. So I think Wolverine has to do something that we haven't seen him do in the past in this fight. He has to go up there. Maybe don't have the shit kickers on this time, right? Maybe don't wear the cowboy boots. Who knows what that type of stuff can do for you. But at all costs, I think that for both men, but particularly for Wolverine, being the more efficient striker, the one with the more experience, I really think he has to avoid fouls at all costs in this fight.
That's a great call, man. He's the champ for a reason. He's been doing what he does every season, and he may be able to surprise Turp just based on his experience and how much he has in his tool belt. Because we saw it with Power Slap 1 with his match against Darius. He pulled out a strike that no one had seen Ron do before, and that cracked all the way around the UFC Apex. So it'll be an interesting one, man. Like, there's something to be said for the hype train that Turp is on, but he is now going against, like everyone said, an absolute OG in the sport. So does he cement himself as the new upcomer, the new face of Power Slap, the new face of the light heavyweights, or does Ron show people why he is the Wolverine and a 2-division champion and possibly the best striker that slap fighting has ever seen? And October 25th, man, we're like 4 weeks away from this event. We'll get to see it real good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the lead up to this matchup could be really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, can Austin, which we know got into the head of Alan Klingbeil, you know, somebody of, you know, a great pedigree and background, somebody who is a trained professional, was able to be broken by the war of words, the attrition, the social media, got into Alan's mind, somebody who has professional training. You know, obviously we'll give Alan the respect to not disclose his actual career, but you know, a guy that has professional training to be incredibly disciplined was able to be broken and shook. You know, is this going to happen to Wolverine? It's something that could play into it. Is that fight week going to get into the psyche of it? You know, does the old dog have new tricks? Wolverine doesn't strike me as the person that's going to come out there and be anything different. But if he does, as you said, how much is that going to play into Austin's mind frame and his psyche? You know, Austin, you know, as much as we love him, doesn't take me as a guy that studies a tremendous amount of film. I'm not sure how much he's getting into the technical aspect, how much he's breaking down, you know, the fight of his opponents. I think up until this point, he's been able to, from, you know, sheer balls, sheer grit, determination, be able to get up there and outlast his competitors. And, you know, and then to say that, you know, obviously he's got a skill set and strength that's come along. And I'm not saying that his game hasn't evolved. Obviously he's worked with, you know, guys like Dwayne Crespo, you know, to help him refine that strike that he has. But are we going to see, you know, if, like as you said, if something unpredictable happens in this matchup that Austin wasn't expecting to happen, is he going to be able to adapt? We know he brings the adrenaline. I really don't think he remembers anything up there on stage, to be honest with you.
No, I don't think
how
so.
high in the sky he is when he's up there. So are we going to be able to see that go through and through? I think this matchup in itself, we don't have the lines out for it right now, but from a betting perspective, I would probably be putting my money somewhere else than on this particular match, because even doing the studying, we can make cases, as we just did here, for both individuals to come out victorious here today. Let's go around the horn one last time. Any final words, Ding, that you want to talk about this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, look, what we know about Austin Turpin is that he likes to have information and use it against his opponents. That's a psychological game, and that's also been something that he's utilized to give himself an edge when he's up there and exude confidence that his opponents haven't seen. If he doesn't have the ability to do those things by Wolverine bringing something we haven't seen before, I don't know what he does. On the flip side, Wolverine's quiet. Wolverine's the guy that doesn't provoke anybody. So how will he respond to somebody who attacks him without being provoked? We have yet to see that, and I'm interested to see how that'll play. I think that'll actually play into his favor, because I think that this will become personal, the Wolverine Ron Bata, and I think that uncharted territory is something that Wolverine is going to realize has always been there. He just hasn't had to tap on it. And so I think if Austin Turpin goes about this the way that he's gone about things in the past, he's going to find himself in some hot water.
Do you think Austin Turpin could almost do like a Dylan Dennis, Logan Paul type of thing on Wolverine? Do you think
God.
Wolverine has some dirt out there on him that could get into the psyche, get into the mind frame? We don't know, obviously, the outcome of the Logan Paul fight.
Yeah.
But I could see Austin having that same character, having that same mentality of trying to get in. What do you guys think?
I mean, I think the lowest hanging fruit is the loss at heavyweight and the move down to light heavyweight. I think that's the major difference between Austin, Turpin, and Wolverine. And I think we'll hear a lot about that in the lead up to this fight. You know, my chin's never been cracked, yours has, and I think that's probably the easiest thing. But I do think, based on what we've seen in the past from Austin, he's willing to get down, he's willing to get dirty, he's willing to get personal. Whether he's personal or not, he's willing to get into your personal details and your personal information. And I think that when you don't have those boundaries, it's a recipe for a dangerous man.
I agree, Jeeves. What do you think? Is there any dirt on Wolverine out there?
Man, I just think Wolverine's too, like, not that this is a bad term, I just think he's too normal of a guy. It might just be like normal shit. Like maybe you forgot to tip the gas attendant when he pumped your gas last week or something. You know what I mean? But
is that a thing, man? I don't even know. We have self-serve up here.
You know, it's kind of like, because of that, as much as we love to see it from Austin, as much as this has made Austin, I don't think it's going to matter at all. I do not think that the loudness of anything can actually affect Wolverine, because he's done this so many times, bro. Like you have a match with 20-something strikes, like you know what's coming, right? So this is going to be the one where maybe we've all heard the saying, like, playtime's over, it's time to get down to work. And we know Wolverine moves like that. Maybe it's time for Austin to, you know, kind of give that a thought. Like, obviously put on your show, you are who you are, but just remember, bro, like this is the one. It's a title fight against the best slap fighter this sport has ever had. So maybe it'll make a factor, but I highly doubt Wolverine's going to be shook by any of that.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a tornado. I think Austin's the tornado, you know, Wolverine is Midwest. I think we're going to see leading into this kind of where it goes in which direction. But I actually think at the end of the day, I think the calm of the storm will actually happen. I think Austin will actually win, lose, or draw, will actually grow and learn a tremendous amount from this fight. I actually think this is the fight that he needs right now in his career. That I do feel there will be mutual respect afterwards, regardless of what that outcome is from this matchup. I think for Wolverine, obviously there's big money at stake. You know, he's defending the title once again, his legacy. And, you know, there's a ton of opportunity for both of these guys. And, you know, obviously here at Slap News, we are incredibly excited for this. We're going to get into the pre-fight interviews with both fighters. We're going to be there live in Las Vegas, capturing the moments, bringing you guys all the information that you guys need to know so that you guys on Rumble, October 25th, can tune in and be some of the most informed fans in the bar, in your home, wherever you are watching Power Slap. We appreciate you guys very much. Do us a favor. If you're watching this on YouTube and you haven't subscribed to our channel, please hit the subscription button. If you could give us a thumbs up, that'd be greatly appreciated, or leave us any comments in the comments section below, and we'll continue to keep on bringing you the best content for Power Slap and Slap Fight, you know, news across the board. I'm Corey Swargos. That is Ding, and that is Big Jeeves. Stay tuned. We have a series of all the title matches coming up here live. Appreciate it.